Hey, hello guys. Welcome back to episode 2 of What You Saying. If this is your first time tuning in, my name is Grace.
My name is Cerys.
I'm Condie.
And on today's episode, we're going to be talking about...
the sexualization of women.
Well, this is your first time.
I feel like we had to put some atmosphere into it.
No, you have to say sad a bit.
Yeah, the sexualization of women.
Yeah.
We are against it, guys.
We
Just
are
need to
against
make
it.
that point clear.
100%.
Yeah.
If this is your first time tuning in to our podcast, we focus on gender inequality and various other topics that we want to address. So, do you want to take it away, Condie?
Ooh, I get to start.
You get to start.
Okay, so on sexualization of women in film, what kind of some good, representation, some good representation of women kind of owning their sexuality, and then some more negative ones.
Some good ones. It's too quiet, guys. It's too quiet. There must be some good ones. Of course. I can say some negatives. That's a bit
Starting off with negatives. I mean, if that's what you can say.
I mean, there's Catwoman.
Which one?
Which one?
All of them.
All of them.
All of them.
Even I used to love the first one. The first one that came out, I loved it as a child. But
Which one?
The one with
Catwoman?
Who is she?
Who is she?
Halle Berry.
Halle.
But she's not even the first one. There was one.
She's not even the first. Is she not?
Yeah, there was something Kit. She's this really big, amazing musician, and I feel really bad that I forgot her name.
No, but big her up. Catwoman wouldn't be a thing without her.
She was like Yzma in Emperor Punk's New Groove. She was Yzma.
I love that movie.
Yeah, she was the voice actor for Yzma. So big her up. Much love.
But I did love Catwoman. But then now looking back at it, it's just she's very sexualized. She's
It's the latex.
It's the latex.
I'd love latex.
I mean, it's not bad. Latex is not bad. No, it's a very good material. Come on.
Very nice.
Yeah. No, but are there any other like you were saying? Are there any positive films that anyone knows?
I'm really struggling to think of positive ones right now. I can think of the most probllomatic.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Oh no!
James Bond.
Stinky. Lower your voice.
Are we allowed to talk about?
Are we allowed to talk about James Bond?
Are we actually?
I don't know.
We didn't sign an NDA. Speak freely.
I think more modern
Say your piece.
films, they're not as well.
I don't know because I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about.
Say your piece. Come with your chest.
Okay, so the recent James Bond, guys. I want to be a runner. I want a career in the film industry. Please do not fire me, guys.
You went to preview as well.
Guys, I'm a great runner. I
Still
can
love
be an
working
AD,
title.
guys. Please. But the recent James Bond, he sexualized every woman he came in contact with.
That's just James Bond. That's just who he is.
Oh my gosh. It was terrifying almost even watching it. I think there was one scene, spoiler alert, skip guys, just skip the whole thing. I'm gonna end up spoiling everything. So there was one scene where he goes into the closet. It's like a wine bar in James Bond, right? And the woman starts undressing him and he's like, oh, you wanna have sexual intercourse with me? I just met you.
Did you use the phrase sexual intercourse?
Yeah, not sexual intercourse, but he was like, oh, this is the first time we just met. You wanna he just want to mess with me. It was just so odd. I feel with every single person he's seen in that movie, he just sexualized them immediately. He just thought he was gonna have sex with them the minute they saw each other, which was just Donnie.
Interesting.
Get a grip.
Interesting. Confidence. The confidence levels are high.
Get a grip. And then he was in the movie, it's meant to portray how he. What's it called? He was, what was it? A woman done him wrong. Yeah.
Okay. I think you care.
A woman done him wrong.
You care.
But then he's sexualizing every woman he's seen. And it's just what are you doing, mate? No. But is there anything else, guys?
I can think of positive.
Okay, think of positive. That's all we need.
I can think of a few. Legally Blonde.
Ooh.
Legally Blonde. See,
never watched that.
It's a good film.
Interesting.
It's a good watch.
Interesting. I like that you made that known.
Well, I can't lie. What am I going to be like? Yeah, I've watched that scene.
You should have actually stayed silent and just listen. But in Legally Blonde, like the main character, the icon of the moment, whose name I've forgotten.
But
you know, okay. I watched Elwood, the icon.
She does her things. Come on.
Like her man breaks up with her. This is not spoiler because it happens in like probably in one of the trailers. It probably happens. Her man breaks up with her, so she wants to go to Harvard Law to like chase after him to like be like, oh yeah, no, listen, don't look at me like that.
No,
because he goes to law school and she does it like a bad bee. Like she gets in, and mind you, this is Harvard Law, so she gets into Harvard Law, so we know that she's smart from the get-go. And then the whole kind of things about her being super kind of hyper feminine, so she wears a lot of pink and stuff.
Yeah,
and the way kind of her costuming especially is kind of portrayed, you know, craft student. It's not like people think that because she wears pink, she's super feminine. She's stupid. Why is she top of the class? How did she get? Why is she top of the class? And the whole kind of point of the show is that she can kind of use her femininity to kind of help her. Like it's not a negative. It's not something. And one of the points, this is a spoiler. One of the people who she's working with does something kind of sexually harasses her, and she, you know, people kind of think, another person kind of sees it and it's like, oh no, was she just trying to use kind of like her sexuality to kind of get into court. But then she just wasn't. Like that was against her will. And she goes to court like a bad bee and she blows the whole case open by talking about a perm. Like it's a really iconic scene.
Oh, I've seen that scene.
So you've seen the scene, but you haven't watched Legally Blonde. Interesting.
Okay. My bad.
But yeah, so she kind of talks about, if you're really, like, if you had gotten a perm that day and you weren't committing murder, then you wouldn't be washing your hair because you know you're not supposed to wash your hair. You're supposed to leave it for a few hours. And it was just so iconic. And she was kind of the stuff that people kind of using against her to like kind of show that you can be feminine, you can have, you know, short skirts and whatever, and still be like a really kind of successful lawyer. Yeah. And so Legally Blonde, Mulan, my favorite movie. And not the live action. Don't even come chat about the live action. That doesn't exist.
I haven't even watched the cartoon.
Don't watch it.
No respect.
Don't give it its money.
No respect. I don't care. Listen, I don't care if your cast, crew, if your mom was on it. I don't care. No respect for that movie. I have no respect for that movie. Where it was shot. Let me talk about this. We're talking about the OG Mulan.
And animation.
Mulan was a bad bee. She saved the whole of China. Nothing else even needs to be said. Like, it was just such a good film where we had a strong female character who wasn't sexualized. Yeah. She was just out here in war living her life because as a woman, like, sexuality isn't something that is like people sexualize you, but on a personal level, it's not necessarily something that you kind of are conscious of every single day. Yeah. Like, I don't wake up in the morning saying, I'm going to be sexy today. Like, I just kind of exist. Yeah. And that's what she's doing in Mulan. Like, it wasn't like a plot point. She was just living her life. And people weren't sexualizing her because they thought she was a man for most of it. Yeah. But when they found out that she's a woman, she wasn't sexualized. They didn't like her. But eventually, she proved her worth and she wasn't sexualized throughout the whole plot. But those are my top two. Yeah. Those are my big boy. So,
would you say, like, when did Legally Blonde come out? If you know, like, around the gist of,
I
like,
would say
era.
early 2000s.
Early 2000s. And then when did, like, Mulan come out? Like,
I want to say 1997 or 90. Yeah. I was
in
1997, 1980s something. But one of the 80s, 90s, one of them, it was 20th century. 20th century.
Okay, we can go with that. But do you guys think, like, with some, I'm not going to call it an old film, but it's not a very recent film, right? So would you say with, like, typically some old films, do you think as a generation or as, like, a society, have we developed with more films not sexualizing women? Because you've pointed out two films that are, like, quite old, like, probably... How long is Legally, like 10, I'm not going to say 10 years, like it's long ago, but like, let's say like...
Legally Blonde?
Yeah, like 5...
at least 2 decades.
Yeah, it's 2021, so maybe even if it came out like 20, I think maybe 2003. I feel like I might be making that up. I might be making it up, but I feel like, no, I might be making this up.
I don't know. I feel like it's earlier than that.
Earlier than that, maybe. But anyway, it's not, it's decent.
Yeah, but would you say like... Because we haven't said any recent films, guys. So do you think, like, as a society, we've improved, or have we, like, gone downwards? Or are people just not addressing it anymore? So they think it wouldn't be like such an issue anymore. Like, what do you guys think about it? Because I think it's like, I feel like we should always still address it. Not address it in the fact that, like, oh yeah, this person is being like sexualized, da 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 da. Of course you have to address it, but in the way of like how you exampled of Mulan and how the movie isn't about like her being a woman. it's her fighting like in the war in China for her dad because her dad is unable to fight in the war. You know, it's not like, oh, okay, she's a woman and she's done this. Like, even though it is a bit, it's not too much the main focus point. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's like, are there any films recently now that you can be like, yeah, this doesn't sexualize the woman? Because I can't say any. That's why I'm just questioning you guys.
To be honest, I think like the male gaze, that like idea, like is going to be like prominent for like all films for like quite a while, even in like a subtle way. Yeah. Because I think like that is how we've constructed like how we see women in media. Like that is how women are presented through the eyes of like a man, or like, you know, that's just the way it's been like built, like through clothing, through like her personality, like appealing to like, you know, the trope with like the girl who's particularly aggressive and you have like an awkward guy and then she like brings him out of it and stuff. And it's like, yeah, and it's like her sexuality is so like endearing that he changes himself to like comply to, you know, the type of person that he wants to be, you know, all of that. I think it's probably going to be diminished in some way because I think like companies are making more of an effort to be more progressive, but I think primarily it's going to still exist to an extent. Like it's just inevitable. I'm trying to think of a film that is like...
I'm still trying to
like
think
right
of a film
now
this
that is
whole
a
time.
good example.
But I like how you brought up sex education. I feel like we're tearing down sex education.
No, we're not, because
we
last episode
love sex education, guys. If you need a runner, my name is Grace at me. But with sex education, like the trope of like Maeve and Otis, like, oh, Otis is the geeky guy, you know, he's just like, he's normal, he's just a nice guy, and Maeve is like strong and I'll change you and scary. Like, that trope is it's a bit odd. It's not a normal trope that you typically see, but it's just like, it's a bit odd sometimes.
It's been used a lot.
Really?
Yeah.
And like, what else do you think? Because like,
wow, I just really... I'm trying to think. I've got the most basic idea in my head, which is a really like terrible, but like iCarly, you've got like Sam.
Oh my gosh.
Sam was a bully. Sam was a bully.
Yeah.
She was not a nice human being. She was not a nice human being.
Or like Victorious. Think about Jade.
Jade.
Yeah.
But Jade was hot.
But I love Jade.
But Jade was hot.
No, but I love
I know
Jade.
she's bad, but she was hot.
Wasn't there like that one episode when Jade and Sam like get together in like Sam and Cat?
Jade and Sam?
Yeah.
Are you making this up? This feels like fanfic. Jade and Sam. Jade and Sam.
Yes, in Sam and Cat.
Nickelodeon being LGBT.
Are you sure? Yes. There was this episode
Haven't watched it,
where it was like, how would I remember?
You haven't watched it?
Sam and Cat.
Okay.
No,
I mean,
you
never watched Sam and Cat?
Cat came later.
Cat is annoying.
Cat
is annoying.
I found her cute.
You found her cute.
She was cute.
No. Cat's a character. Cat's a character.
Cat's a character. I like it. It's not her fault. I heard the director was creepy, and that's why he was sexualizing her.
And
they even goes, everything. It's all connected. It's all connected.
Because Cat was very the
progression of her character, like season 1 Cat, like she spoke normally, and then her voice sounded like by the end of Victorious, like it sounded like she was on helium every single day. Like her voice was high.
No. Yeah, that's like the kind of, you know, sexualizing very young girls.
Stinky.
Like you have a lot of characters, like female characters, who have really, really high pitched, like unnatural voices, which is really weird. Like it's just like girls don't talk like that at all. Actually, a lot of girls that I know have quite deep voices. I have quite a deep voice. Like I know a lot of people who just, I mean, obviously there are people who have high pitched voices, but not to the extent where it's literally like some like bubblegum, like
exactly.
It's very like cutesy and like putting this idolation on like very young girls.
I think like since we're on the topic of like kids and like the sexualization of them, I saw this one video yesterday on like TikTok. Love TikTok. Guys, don't hate on TikTok. Some people will be like, oh, I don't have TikTok. Guys, it's okay to have TikTok. It's literally, it's perfect. Someone behind the camera is shaking their head saying TikTok. It's okay to have TikTok. It's a social media platform.
He thinks he's special. He thinks he's special.
He's behind the camera. Please. So I saw this on TikTok, and it was this woman talking about how when she was younger, I don't know where she lived. I can't remember, but she lived somewhere else, not in London or the UK in general. And she was talking about how like when she was younger, she didn't wear like a top for when she went swimming, innit? She would just swim with everyone, like all the boys and girls. They didn't have any tops on. And when she moved here at an early age, she was then told she has to have a top on because like the boys are gonna look at you different. You're gonna like make the boys feel weird because you're gonna sexualize them and things like that. And it's just like what do you guys think of that? Like, would you be okay with like as a young child you don't wear a top when like you go swimming? If you get what I mean, if you get what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. I definitely think so. Like, I feel like it's really interesting. Like, when we kind of think back, like, when was the first time you felt like you had to cover up your body? Like, when was the first time you kind of made that realization? Because I remember I did like ballet one time. It was like ghetto ballet. Like it was at my it was at my like local town center hall thing, and like I didn't have the ballet drip yet because it was my first lesson. And then my mom was like, "It's fine. You can just go in your vest." And so like she just like took on my shirt. I was like, go dance. And I was embarrassed, but like I didn't really think it was that deep. Yeah. But like now I'm looking back and it's like I couldn't just be running around in my vest like up and down like the school. Like that would be really like kind of uncomfortable, and like it would be like seen as like borderline inappropriate. So it's like when do you first get sexualized as like a young person?
As a young person.
And it's really interesting because I feel like it also kind of has a bit to do with like the what you kind of wear thing. At least for me personally, because I remember the first time I've ever felt kind of sexualized by someone. Like I was wearing my like primary school summit. Whoops. Cut the cameras. We
are back. Welcome back, everyone. We just had a slight little break. Don't worry, we're all fine. So back to your story, Condie.
Okay, so I need to try and remember my story. The break was a bit of time.
It was a bit of time.
But yeah, I was speaking kind of about how I feel like when it comes to stuff like that, it's about the first time you're kind of sexualized. And I remember the first time I was wearing my primary school summer dress, the cute little, the drip. Yeah. You get excited every single year. You get to wear that one dress only the summer.
What was your color?
Blue.
What was yours?
Probably some like yellow.
Yellow. Like, do you not remember it?
No, we had no uniform when I was a kid.
Mad.
Yeah.
Mad.
What? No, this is a different topic. You didn't have any uniform.
We had no uniform.
Where did you go to
Where
school?
did you go?
Just a normal primary school.
Normal.
In Southeast.
It's not normal.
In Southeast.
Southeast.
Yeah, you man grew up rough. No. I've got two Southeasters. One to the right of me, one to the left of me. I'm panicking. I'm nervous. I'm sweating a bit.
I had the yellow one. I had a cute little yellow the dress. That was cute.
So in South London.
Wait, so you're talking about uniform dresses?
Yeah. You know the little cute little ginger.
Mind blown. I had no uniform.
Just running on your black Air Forces.
No, like...
No, you're booking it.
Guys, I'm from East London, so I can make the joke. We grew up rough too. We had no water.
Same.
Because I got bullied. I came to school the next day, so you had no water. Okay, guys, back to gender equality. We're not here to this postcodes war. So back to somber story. Yes, so the first time I was wearing my primary school like summer dress, and there was this creepy man at the bus stop. Creepy, and he started chatting to me, chatting to my sister too. My sister, she was like 4 years older than me, so she had on like her secondary school uniform. He was chatting, and it's just being really, really creepy, and like he followed us from bus stop to bus stop, because like bus drivers, they don't rate kids. So when they see loads of kids at the bus stop, they drive past. So me and my sister, we thought we were smart. We go to the bus stop behind where less of the kids came. We were like, get on the bus. And so bossman, why was bossman coming? Bossman, what are you doing? It was literal criminal behavior. But so I feel like that was kind of the first time I felt like I was kind of sexualized. And so from then, I feel like I was more conscious of kind of stuff. Like I remember it was like a gradual kind of changing from like, oh, you know how in primary school you kind of change in just kind of the same room. Like for example, they'll have like boys to one side and like girls to one side. But from then, like I'd be a lot more conscious. Like I'd be like, it would just be a lot more of like a thought process that kind of didn't exist before. And so I feel like in regards to kind of your story about like swimming and like not wearing shirts and stuff, I feel like it all kind of depends on when the child kind of first experienced that. Because I feel like for the child to be comfortable, like if they've kind of been exposed to kind of sexualization, then they probably won't feel that comfortable themselves. But yeah,
I feel like I can like when you said the example of when people used to change in like the same room, like we used to all just change in the, what's it called, the classroom, right? I remember there was this one time, I think I was in year 4. Oh wait, going back, what year were you in when that first happened actually?
The creepy bus stop
primary
man.
school.
The creepy bus stop man.
In sundresses. So like,
I think my sister was in the school uniform and she's 4 years older than me. So, but I was going to school with my sister. So that probably means I was like year 4.
Year 4, ooh.
Yeah, year 4. So however, 8, 9, 9. Like it wasn't even double, because you don't reach double digits until like you're 10. So it was like pre-double digits, creepy bus stop man. Creepy bus stop man.
But with me, I remember I was in year 4 as well. And we were in class and there was this one girl who was just like changing. She just like, most girls like wore their vest under their top. And then she took off her shirt and she didn't have a vest under, right? I was just like, you know what? You're doing your thing. You're just changing in and like no one's going to start screaming. These kids started screaming.
Some reaction.
Oh my gosh. I was like, what are you guys talking? Like, what's happening? Why is everyone like screaming? Like, is there a rat or something? Oh my gosh, she doesn't have a vest on. What is she doing? Ew. Like, guys, these are like 8-year-olds. And they're like, oh, ew, she doesn't have a top on. We all look the same. We're all flat-chested. There's nothing there. There's actually there's nothing
crumbs,
there.
Actual crumbs.
There's literal crumbs. There's nothing there. We literally all look the same. So it was just so odd of how like, then afterwards, I remember after the day, she used to always wear her vest. She used to wear her, and like, you know, the training bra thing. She used to wear a training bra, a vest and things like that. Like, and I felt so bad for her because it was like the example she was never exposed to it because she was new to the school as well. So imagine having that experience of like, everyone shouting, growling, oh my gosh, you're not wearing a vest. That's so disgusting. Like, she's a little kid. Like, there's nothing else. Like, what is she gonna do? Like, she's literally just living her life, you know? And just things like that. But is there any like experience that you've gone through?
I don't know. I think like you were saying, like it's complicated because like even if you wanted to start like you encouraged your kid to start like, you know, being themselves and not wearing like a top or something like that. I think there's always going to be the concern of the awareness that there's going to be that like association with like a sexual element. Do you know what I mean? Like it's like thinking about like colors or something like that. Like say you see pink as just a color, but like people have been raised on the idea that it's related to like feminine things. Like products will have pink in them, or you know, when we're advertised like certain things, it's going to be like, oh, here's a pink bra or like pink this and pink that. It's going to be like known as being a
targeted
feminine
to women.
So it's the same thing with like, you know, like not having a top on and things like that. Like I think it puts to like mums and fathers in like a difficult position with their kids, being like, to what extent do I allow them to like be themselves, but also like how do I protect them from people with dodgy views and like, because there's it's gonna happen. It's like there's this book called Lolita, which is do you guys know about the book?
I didn't.
It gives the perspective of like you empathize with the paedophile, which is problematic because it's like that shouldn't be a situation, and yet people have to consider those elements when you have a child, or like even if you're growing up at that age, you have to consider what people are going to think of you because
isn't there like that one, what's it called? What's that show called? I know the show.
American Beauty?
No.
Okay.
Black Mirror episode where it's I forgot that name of the episode, but it's like there's this one guy, you're following the protagonist, as you always do. You're following the protagonist and you're like rooting for the protagonist. And he's done a video, but you don't know what the video is and everything like that. And you're like rooting for him. You're like, oh my gosh, I hope he's okay. You know, I hope he goes survive this. And then like you find out in the end of the video, it's like he was just watching like some child like pornography, and
it's at the start when he's in McDonald's and he's like gives the toy to the kids. And you're like, oh, that makes so much sense.
Yeah, exactly. And it's things like when some movies or like shows or books show you like a different perspective of people, it's just like, oh gosh, scary. But it doesn't give me any sympathy because right after when I find out the person, I'm like, you're disgusting, and I feel bad. I even feel bad for myself for even rooting for you for even a minute. No, but speaking about school, what did I want to talk about speaking about school? The schoolgirl trope. So what I'm talking about in the schoolgirl trope is like in Kill Bill, And there's like this one Asian girl, and she's wearing like the school uniform, and like, what do you guys think about like the sexualization of like girls in like school clothes?
It's really common.
Yeah.
It's very
common.
It's so scary.
And the fetishization of like Asian women as well.
Yes.
Like Asian women and Asian girls, like age does not matter. Like it's just a really big thing. So I feel like the school uniform trope, especially like in Kill Bill, the scene you're talking about, the school uniform trope and the Asian girl trope, it was just like a controversial crossover. Like it was, but I feel like it kind of it's kind of like how with my creepy bus man. Creepy bus stop man. Yeah, it's the same energy. It's like, what is so appealing about minors?
My school clothes,
like, is there some sort of cognitive issue? Like, let's get to the root of this. Like, don't want to talk to you, but let's actually unpack where this kind of stem from. And I feel like I've like watched a couple of videos like with this YouTuber, and she was kind of talking about the fetishization of like Japanese girls and like the Japanese schoolgirl trope, and like she's this historical YouTuber, like historical fashion YouTuber, and she's kind of talking about how there's like a change in like, because schoolgirls in Japan, they used to wear like trousers and like long skirts, like the bad gals, they wore long skirts. It was like this like 80s type, biker bad gal drip, and then it became like short skirts and kind of sexualization. And there's nothing wrong with long skirts, short skirts, as long as that's your choice. But it's just like, when did this kind of sexualization begin? It feels like a kind of historical thing to kind of get to the root of it, because there was kind of something. What was the media at the time, especially like, where did this kind of stem from? Because it's not normal. It's not normal to look at somebody that's dressed in something that you associate with a minor and find that attractive. Because you don't associate like people that are above the age of 18 with like school uniforms. Because post that age, a lot of people like, I mean, I can't say worldwide, but like a big chunk of people in a large amount of places, like they're kind of finished in their school uniform type education, because you're going to uni, you're doing that sort of stuff. So you're not going to be wearing a school uniform. So why is it that the school uniform, what's attractive? What is attractive?
There's nothing.
It's really weird. It's like, it's a Halloween costume, like to go as like a sexy schoolgirl.
That's not normal.
It's not, because we rock into school with that. Like, guys, it's not. Because it's just like, why are you actually, like you're saying, like, why are you actually sexualizing that? It's simply a uniform. It's like, you're meant to look smart with it, and then now if I wear this, I don't know if I'm gonna go cross the road and this creepy bus stop man is gonna be waiting for me there. Like, it's not okay. Like, even talking about the fetishization of Asian people in general, I watched this one show called BoJack Horseman. Guys, BoJack Horseman is a bit scary. It's good, but it's scary. But don't like BoJack. If you actually think you're similar to BoJack, I can't talk to you right now. No, BoJack is scary. Like, he scares me, you know.
He's a horse.
He's
a horse. He's a scared horse. Okay.
But he's a scary man. He literally...
A scary horse.
He's a scary horse, man. He knows that he's a horrible person. He's like, yeah, I'm horrible. But he's going to do the horrible thing yet again. Like, but anyway, it's not about BoJack, guys. So there's this one character called Deanna, if I'm correct, I don't know. But there's one character named Deanna, and she goes back to, I don't know where she's from again.
Her ends. She goes back to her ends, right? And basically she meets this American guy, right, while she's there. And she doesn't say anything to this American guy. She can speak English, right? But this American dude, he's like, oh my gosh, I love this place. It's so amazing, right? And then she's like, cool, right? The guy takes her on dates, spends money on her. They go everywhere, out and about for weeks almost, right? They're at a bar. And then she says a line, and then the American man starts shouting at her, saying, how dare you not tell me you can speak English? Oh my gosh, I thought you were like everyone and you were mysterious and you're going to be quiet and things like that. Like, it was like showing the idea of how people fetishize Asian women to be like mysterious and quiet and like just listen to the strong American man. Like, watching that episode was like pretty scary, because it was just like, gosh, like, imagine how she felt when that happened. It was like, they had a good relationship, and then boom, it just got demolished immediately right after her just saying simply, I wanted this beer. Like, I just think things like that, like how a lot of people are like, Asian people are like fetishized for like no reason, for simply just existing, which I think is just like, come on guys, they're just a human being. They're just talking, they're just living their life, you know? But yeah,
Is there anything you guys want to talk about?
I feel like I'm not Asian.
Exactly.
So
yeah. You can't really say too much.
There's not really too much I can say. Like I can kind of acknowledge their struggles and kind of see that. I want to advocate for that. But I don't really feel like I'm in a place to kind of speak on that because I haven't experienced that. And I don't feel like even lack of experience, but I'm not educated enough on it. Like, you know, I have to say, because the person I watched who was talking about the Japanese fetishisation, she's like Asian herself. So I was kind of listening and like taking note. But like, I don't have that sort of information. Like she does research for all of her videos like so much, but I haven't kind of put in the work to kind of educate myself on that. So I feel like in kind of anything, but like it's kind of really nice to have had this conversation because even though nobody on the panel is like Asian, we can still kind of speak about that and like open the dialogue so that hopefully like an Asian person who's kind of had maybe kind of experience or something can kind of be like, oh yeah, you know, on the What You Saying podcast.
Yeah, guys, hop on. You can come email me, graciekiti@studentslsa.ac.
Yeah, I think you missed Ellis.
I think I did.
It's a long email.
It's a long.
Actually, don't say email.
It's a long email. Just know my name. That's it. You can just find it. But yeah, guys. So I used to be a comic book person, guys. That was I know.
I think it's amazing.
It was.
I big up comic book people.
It was a little error of me. You know, I used to read comic books. Actually used to steal my brother. Borrowed my brother's comic books.
Criminal.
You know,
You're criminal.
Used to share it to my friends. Paid them £1. Pay me £1. You can take.
You're a criminal. You're a criminal. That was charging for your criminal behavior.
Yeah. What? I needed money.
How did that work out for you?
Oh yeah, it was good. You'd book it for like 2 days. Give me £1.
Book it.
No,
like charging library.
Charging.
Book it. They can't even buy it because you bought it. It's not even yours to give.
My brother's in it, so I can't even like sell it. Do you get it? If I could sell it, I was gonna sell it for £5. Anywho. But in comic books, they sexualize women a lot. Like they sexualize women so much in comic books. There's this like one video I watched yesterday where they do this like pose of where they have the woman's bum on where the reader like is reading it, but their chest is like still turned as well to them. But their body is meant to be facing the opposite direction. So it's like showing how like in comic books, they create this ideal body of a woman. So it plays a part to like body image in women. And it's like the figure is really small. And I understand with like comic books, the superhero is meant to be like very like super strength. Like their level, they're meant to be like basically not human.
The best of the best.
The best of the best. But it's a bit too much, you know.
Way too much. It's enough. It's enough.
It's not normal. It's not normal.
It's not normal. Like you can be a superhero and not be. And I feel like it's okay if like I feel like the woman was kind of having that autonomy over her body and her sexuality. Like I feel like the femme fatale trope. It's a trope. It's a trope, but don't cancel me. There was an element of women being empowered in that trope. And the same person who did the fetishisation of Japanese women actually did a really good video. I'm going to try and remember her name.
Yeah.
But I don't think I have the capacity to do it. I meanly love her, watch her. And she was talking about how kind of femme fatale came at a time when women kind of didn't have any anatomy. So them kind of killing their abusive husbands. Yeah, it was femme fatale trope, but it was them kind of to get in power. So I feel like if in these comic books, the women were kind of owning their sexuality and kind of doing that in a way that they wanted to, it would be fine. But I feel like in a lot of the way the pose is, they're just so objectified. Like it's not like, oh, she's kind of like, she's using this, like it's a conscious choice. It's just, oh, she's just walking down and like a man's attracted to her. She's not trying to even give that energy. Like she's actually just going about, she's going grocery shopping. She's fighting someone. Why is her bunda in the air? Like it's true. It's true. You're just denying like human anatomy to make it sexual. And the maddest thing is, like comic books are aimed at like a wide range of ages. Yeah. But a lot of people who read, like you said, you read it when you were a kid. Yeah. Kids read comic books. Kids read comic books. And the kind of stereotypical demographic of comic books. So a lot of them are aimed at kind of boys, men. Yeah. They're gonna read this. They're gonna see women like hyper-sexualized, and they're gonna think that that's the standard. They're gonna think that's normal. That's how women exist, to be kind of sexualized next public to like property. Next to like a man kind of main character. Like how come Superman has a full outfit but Wonder Woman's knees are out? Like,
I was.
why does he get a full outfit? Like, I beg your pardon. It makes no sense. It doesn't even make sense. Like, it's the same for like games. Like, they'll be having like kind of women characters will be having armor. Why? But like their boobs will be out, and I'm like, like,
why are they always so
sense.
busty? Like every character
makes no sense. Like, that's where your heart is. That's how they get stabbed. Who would make armor like that? It makes no sense. It makes no sense.
Some games I can say Mortal Kombat. Hey man, Mortal Kombat.
Hey man.
Like, I don't even want to bring down these games because I like these games.
You play it a lot, so
I play it a lot.
You're exposing yourself.
I'm exposing myself, but Mortal Kombat, the literal armor of it is just not. It makes no sense. Like, I think back up to it. It makes no sense. Like, well, my shoulders are covered, okay? Like, who's gonna shank me in my shoulders? Like, what are you talking about? Like, there's just all these things. Like, even adding on to the comic books, some of the comic books that I've seen is like Mrs. Marvel, Harley Quinn in movies as well, and like why have I forgotten the movie? I was about to say Squid Game. Hold on.
Oh Jesus Christ! Are you sure you're a comic book kid?
No, wait.
Birds of Prey.
Yes.
Okay.
But I didn't really used to read that, but I know that one. No, they don't sexualize her too much in that one. That one's actually
because the director was who?
Was who?
A woman. A woman. That's why the men hated it. The men hated it. Birds of Prey came out. They're like, "Hey, this is sticky."
This is for like a track.
But there's like also there's just so many things. Justice League, Wonder Woman.
Justice League. I fell asleep for the first one. I can't lie. It was so dead. It was so.
I just can't.
I don't even watch it, guys. I can't. Gosh. But there's just like a lot of comic books where they just sexualize women, and it's like how you're saying about how they're simply just standing, they're just living their life. They'll just be walking. I think I was even reading one where it was like the woman was just walking down the street, and then the man didn't catch a car because he was just looking at her, and she was just wearing like shorts and a vest. And it's just like, what are you doing? Get a grip. You need to save the world.
Embarrassing.
Get an actual
done out. You're finished. You're finished.
No, you're finished.
You're done out.
What? But it's like the idea was like how they're just simply just doing their thing, and it's just like, oh, because they're dressed like this, or they look like this, or the body's like this, now the man is distracted, or the person's distracted. You're distracting them because your clothes are a little too small. Like,
schools say that a lot. Interesting, because schools say that a lot.
Yeah.
Non-uniform day, these man them have their arms out playing basketball, but it's my arms that are seduction. My skinny, scrawny arms that are seduction. I beg your pardon. Like, it actually makes no sense. It's disgusting.
And there was this thing in my secondary school where the skirts were. I don't know who the designer was. I just need to chat to them, because it was like, the bigger the skirts were, the longer it were. But then the smaller you were, the shorter the skirts were. So then either way, it would still be short, like for anyone, right? So then I remember I had my skirt on, and my skirt was like, it was a mini skirt, guys. And I bought it from the school store. And because I'm like quite tall, right? And I'm like all legs in it. So you're just gonna just see my legs. There was a teacher who was like, Grace, did you buy the proper size skirt? Like,
criminal behavior.
And I was like, what do you mean did I buy the proper size skirt? Guys, I bought it from your store. Why do you think the logo's here? Ever since that day, I remember I like stopped wearing, when I stopped wearing skirts, I became trousers.
Lucky.
Yeah, that was a new life.
Same.
We couldn't wear trousers in my school.
You couldn't?
Really?
We couldn't wear, you're doing, man, look at that. Look at me, like, oh no, you victim. I was a victim. I went to a Catholic school.
But shouldn't they?
No, they were like, Jesus doesn't want trousers on women.
Oh no.
Jesus doesn't want trousers on women.
No, but I went to a Catholic primary school, and you were allowed to wear trousers.
We weren't. They were like, I was talking to my head of year, and can you sit up? Sorry. I tried to do the thing, but I actually couldn't put what was I could sorry. Guys, no, can you sit up? Sorry. Okay, reload it.
Reload
What was I
it.
saying?
Let's go. You're talking to your head
Catholic
teacher.
school. No, because I was talking to them. My head of year, I was like, why can we not wear trousers? Like, it's cold. It's winter. It's cold. And they wouldn't let us inside the building. Like, we had to run inside the building, sneak in so we could get some warmth. Had to stay inside the lunch hall. The lunch lady would come say, get out. It's cold. It's raining. Even the birds are outside. And then our teacher was like, well, it's just because it's a Catholic school. And so we, can't wear, like, the guys wear trousers and the girl wear skirts. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, have mercy on your souls. Because this feels like an abuse of human rights.
Does not make sense.
Do you think Jesus was on the cross thinking about my skirt? Like, did his mom, like, what? It's out. I can't even like
breathe.
No, breathe. We don't have to breathe. The Bible and a skirt and trousers. Disgusting. They were writing the whole script. Wait, show me Bible quotes that said this Catholic school you can't wear trousers. Like, it was mad. And then they literally called an assembly. Like, it was after school. Instead of letting me go home and do homework, even it was like year 10 or something. So we had chosen our thing. I had coursework to do for textiles. And instead of me being able to go, they were like, guys, we have an assembly on the tannoy. Guys, assembly. So we all, it was like girls, because I went to a girls' school. It's a girls' school and a boys' school. But it's like, we didn't have lessons with the boys, but we just shared the same building. So they would still see us. So but it was just the girls that were kind of pulled into the assembly hall. Yeah. And they're like, your skirts are too short. Because basically, you can roll up your skirt. Yeah, and a lot of people did that. Some of the reasons why people did that was because the skirts didn't fit. Exactly. Would you prefer my skirt drops off? The skirts didn't fit. And sometimes I like mini skirts. Sue me. Come, let's scrap. I like mini skirts. I don't want my skirt down to my knee. Burn me at the stake. Yeah. And they called an assembly, and then she's like, oh, when you go to the workplace, you won't be able to roll up your skirt. You have to. I said, this is sexism. This is assembly of sex. And you know what the maddest thing was? My head of year was a woman. My head of school was a woman. So I was listening to these women, these older women, like these people who are supposed to be guiding me, showing me the way, saying basically, you guys are whores. You guys are just like whores. You guys are just like sinful whores. And I'll look at me. I'm not Christian. So you did your job terribly. That's what I would say to my teachers right now. Because it was actually disgusting. Like, I feel like everything that they did kind of pushed people away from so many stuff. And they just sexualized women not even women. Yeah. They sexualized girls. Like, I was year 10. Like, how old were you in year 10? Like 15? 15 and 14, 15, and they were having a whole assembly for skirts. Interesting behavior. And it's like loads of schools did that, because I was like, there's this YouTuber called Annie Jaya, and she was talking about how she couldn't wear trousers either. And I was like, mad.
There's actually a lot of schools.
Yeah, like, I was like, it's loads of schools that you're not allowed to wear trousers, and it's the maddest thing. I'm like people are sinning, and it's skirts.
It's just so weird. I went to an all-girls school as well, and we had the exact same conversations, and my teachers would always be like, stop wearing a belt, which is like when you roll up the skirt and it's like that.
You put
and it's like we had a sixth form, but there was barely any boys that were in the sixth form, and it was like fundamentally just women, women and like female teachers and stuff. So it's like, who do you want us to rein ourselves in for? Like, who do you want us to not be exposing ourselves for? Because it's just male teachers who we're working with, so it's obviously
the point.
Are we distracting you?
Questions had to be asked about the teaching staff.
It's confusing. It doesn't make sense, and I don't even think anyone really had an issue with it anyway. It's just I think it's just traditional values and believing that we should be the certain ways, all that crap.
I think that's it's so odd that teachers would literally be like, oh, your skirt is too short, you shouldn't is it actually distracting? Because it's just it's a piece of clothing. Okay, it's short. I'm still working, I'm still learning, I'm still doing everything the same way.
What is the distracting factor? Is it that your mind goes somewhere that's really perverted, and it's
we're children. We're children.
Actual kids.
Who's distracted? Are you distracted? Okay, question.
Why are you seeing kids
they're setting themselves up?
And why is it the child's problem to then make their clothes
you
better
undistract yourself?
That, they don't
undistract yourself.
Literally, I mean, if it's male teachers who have that issue, then they should sort their mental state out.
Yeah,
then I don't even think it's like I haven't really met male teachers who have had that like issue with girls wearing short skirts. Like, I think it's just an ideology. Like really, I just don't. It's so complicated.
It is very complicated.
But it's not even that complicated. Just shut up. Like everybody tells you that actually just shut up. Like they're the talk, and it's fine. Like I feel like sometimes it's just gonna be complicated because we want to get back to the root of them. But I don't care. Like, let's snip it where it is now. Like, I don't care about the root. I don't care about where it started. I don't care what your mom said, what your grandma said. I don't care about who your boss said. I'm talking about right now, right here. Why are you telling me to roll up my skirt? Like, dead it. Like, I feel like these issues become so complicated because they don't want to change. It's like, okay, but we've been doing this for years, but the people say and the government, I don't care. Like, I feel like
being acknowledged.
If you don't try and like just kind of get rid of things right now, then you're just going to keep on allowing it to progress. Like everything becomes complicated if you keep on finding excuses. Like if this like it's not harmful to people, like it's generally not harmful to people. I feel like the fact that we're like I'm 18 and I'm still having discussions for kind of things that happened when I was like 15. Yeah. And that's like a few years. It's been a few years. So I feel like those kind of conversations are way more damaging than like anything else. And it's like, do you care? You don't care. I feel like the education system, they don't really care about their students like in that type of way. I feel like they don't really care about us kind of like what happens once we're kind of out of like their grasp in a way. It's like, okay, you have your grades. Okay, but what about my mental health? What about everything else? Like what about my like self-image, my body image? Because like I remember it's such a like even the skirt thing, it was so crazy. Like the teachers literally said to us like on any from day, and I was like, I'm paying you £1 for you to tell me that the boys will be distracted by my like how can those words come off your mouth? Like they actually said like the boys will be distracted by like your like arms, and they just kind of said like it was like normal. Like I said, it's just boys will be distracted. Okay. I don't see them. We're not in the same classes.
We're not in the same classes.
Like when I'm walking during lunch, because we had break together. So during break, they're gonna trip. Like, okay, we'll trip. Like that's not my business. Go to the guys and tell them. But is it even that much of an issue? Because sometimes I feel like schools make things up. Like I feel like they're lying. Like I know some guys may have been like distracted, but really,
but a big majority hand, I don't think so.
Or do you just think? Are you just playing guessing games? Are you pushing that onto the boys? Are you actually even creating this issue that doesn't exist? Yeah. And now the guys are aware of that. Like, ooh, should I be distracted by arms? Are arms attractive? Ooh, shoulders sexy. Like what? Like it was a really kind of weird thing. It was like such a cycle. And it's like who's gonna kind of
stop the cycle? Yeah. I like how you spoke about how we should not look back at who started the root of the whole thing and just cut it then and there. Yeah. So I think that's a really good thing though. But we're coming to the end, guys. So thank you for tuning in for today's episode. And that was What You're Saying. I'm your host, Gracie Sikity.
I'm also your host, Cara Stevens.
And our guest,
Condie.
Thank you guys for coming in.